Well, the Lakers are in a bit of a tough spot. Following them dropping Game 3, they are now down 2-1, and it definitely does suck because they have kind of been their own worst enemy. Even with Luka Doncic not playing well and obviously being sick and under the weather in Game 3, having a pretty poor game for himself, only having 17 points, 5 turnovers, and again simply not being himself, they still had a great opportunity to win this game. LeBron played great, had a 38-point game, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, his best game of the postseason thus far. Austin finally played well. They got a little bit of help from their bench unit, and again, they had a great opportunity to win this game, but were simply not able to pull it out. So with that in mind here, how do they be better in Game 4? What change or changes should they make for Game 4? And how do they get back in this series? Well, according to many, one thing they would like to see change, and with their rotation and or starting lineup, would be with a guy like Jaxson Hayes. Now there does tend to be two sides to this. Some people think they should play him more and maybe get more from him on the court. After all, he is their biggest player on the court, and against a big physical team like the T-Wolves, some people think that he might be able to offer them more on the court, might be able to help them more and give them that size advantage that they have been desperately missing. But then on the other hand, some people think they should go completely away from him and move him out of their rotation. Yes, that would be going in even more of a small ball direction, but in the brief playing time that he's been on the court, it's not been good for them. In only 26 total minutes, has been a negative 18 on the court. In Game 3, only played about 9 minutes and still managed to be a negative 13 on the court. Fouling way too much, not making an impact offensively or defensively, and simply looking a bit lost on the court too. So with that in mind here, should they make a change and replace him in their starting lineup? Maybe he'd play better coming off the bench, or maybe completely remove him from the rotation. That might be one thing to think of for Game 3, or rather Game 4. And here's what Redick had to say about it when asked about it, talking about if they'll do that or if he's lost faith in Jaxson Hayes.
JJ, how can you guys, you mentioned the lack of rim protection. I mean, McDaniel's been particular, right? Like, seemed to be even more focused on it. I think he said something after Game 1. Does that work have to be done on the perimeter? How can you guys be better at the rim, knowing kind of the size limitations that and vertical limitations you guys have?
Yeah, I think it's just we've done it all year. When we've been at our best, we've been able to be physical on the ball and not allow blow-bys, and also have sort of a cover mentality, multiple effort, and it was there at times tonight. It's not to say our guys, I mean, they exerted a lot of effort, they played hard, but the sort of early throw-aheads, the offensive rebounds, and I think we had 2 where we collected a rebound, we get back tapped, we give up a point. It's just, again, it's those things really, really accumulate, especially when you're turning the ball over.
Jaxson hasn't really been able to make a positive impact in his minutes. Would you consider just playing small full-time? Is that something that you can look at here?
We'll look at everything, but still believe in Jaxson.
You know, can't really take anything away from that for sure here. If he'll bench Jaxson Hayes, if he'll simply bring him off the bench but still play him, or if he'll keep him in their starting lineup for Game 4. Didn't reveal that, and obviously shouldn't reveal that, has yet to think about that. Or even apart from Hayes, maybe bring Rui Hachimura off the bench. I've seen comments about that. Still have been comments about Austin Reeves and a few others here and there, changing up the rotation, but I think I would point to Jaxson Hayes here as something to maybe think about the most, bringing him off the bench. Maybe that would give him a better advantage against the T-Wolves bench unit, or simply bench him entirely. Again, he's not played well. I mean, per 36 minutes, the guy's been averaging about 8.2 fouls per game, and then on top of that, having a negative 24.7 plus-minus rating per 36 minutes. So yeah, obviously not playing well, and if they would go away from him, the guy I'd think about replacing him with probably would be Jared Vanderbilt. No, he might not be a true center, and they don't really have an option apart from Jaxson Hayes, so I probably would go with Vanderbilt. Their best defender off the bench, their most versatile defender. He can play the point of attack defense, could be a defender for a guy like Anthony Edwards if they'd want to move away from their box and one defense, the kind of coverage they played against him in their past 2 games, and go more to an individual defensive coverage at least to start out with. That would be an option for them. Then for a better rebounding option, Vanderbilt's been much better than Hayes. Per 36 minutes, grabbing about 11 rebounds per that average, and even with the fouls being a bit up there, he's been coming off the bench and knowing that he probably won't play that much, so he's been a bit more free-willing on defense and willing to foul a bit more. But if he would be put in their starting lineup, I think that would be cut down a bit. Yes, he'd still be aggressive and go after rebounds and play hard defense, but probably stay away from fouling as much. And no, it obviously would not be ideal offensively. Vanderbilt's not played well offensively, only averaging about 1.5 points per game on 40% from the field, not hitting a 3-point shot and not really being an offensive threat. But at the end of the day here, gotta factor in more defense and simply energy and effort out there, which Vanderbilt can offer their team. Up until this point, has been one of the very few guys who has offered that for their team. Whether they're playing well with energy or not playing well with it, Vanderbilt's been able to help them out, and especially in the second quarter. Last night, he came off the bench and actually gave them a big boost, being a +8 during the second quarter, ending up with a +5 and one of the few guys on their team with a positive plus-minus rating in Game 3. So you can point to that and say he helped them out, and might be able to help them out with more playing time on the court too. And no, I'm not saying it would be the perfect solution for them. Unfortunately, I'm not sure they really have that for this matchup, but if you're talking about defense, probably can get more out of Vanderbilt, even in regard to rim protection. Hayes not helped them much, and then in regard to switching on defense and rotating on defense, which has been their primary issue if you ask me, Vanderbilt definitely could help them there as well. But apart from that, and what else they might need to change, other people have talked about maybe benching Rui Hachimura or bringing him off the bench. I'm not sure I go that far, but I would like to see improvement with Rui Hachimura. Had a really bad fourth quarter, especially on defense in Game 3, and that came after Game 2 where he actually played pretty good on defense, so that only made it more disappointing. But in Game 3 and in the fourth quarter, did not play well on defense, was a big part of them falling apart, and especially on defense. Happened to be a -19 in this game, a team low -19 mind you. And then in regard to offense and 3-point shooting, passed up way too many shots in my opinion. Yes, he did go 2 for 4, but probably could have taken about 7 or 8, and passing up a great shot like that to then get an average to late shot clock situation kind of shot is not a good thing for their offense, and I would point to Hachimura a little bit for that. However, apart from Rui Hachimura, apart from Jaxson Hayes, apart from their size disadvantage, I think it was more about a lack of urgency on the court, which is never something you want to see in the postseason, especially in their situation, being tied 1-1 and being on the verge of going down 2-1 like they eventually did. That's never a good thing to see. And yes, Luka obviously playing through sickness, that affected their energy, that affected their offense quite a bit, but you simply gotta try to play through it and have more urgency on the court, especially during the fourth quarter. Now I'm definitely not giving up on them. I think there's plenty of good to point to here and plenty of optimism, yes, even after a loss. One thing being their offense, and it not even coming close to its ceiling in my opinion. I mean, they have yet to have a game where 2 or let alone all 3 of LeBron, Luka, and Austin have a great game. Only having either Luka Doncic or LeBron have a great game thus far, not getting even 2 of them together, so that's one thing to point to. Next being their defense and physicality. Yes, it's been a bit inconsistent, but they've shown they can do it, even against a team like the T-Wolves. Simply gotta be more consistent and, again, play with more urgency on the court too, like they showed in Game 2. And if they would put more of that together, their physicality on the court, better energy, maybe a slight adjustment to their rotation, starting lineup, and game plan for Game 4, with the physicality and offense combined, I think they'd be completely fine. But with all of that being said, what do you guys think? What do you believe is their key to win Game 4? Is it an adjustment to the rotation, starting lineup, maybe a guy like Jaxson Hayes, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt entering it or not being a part of it? Or is it something more game plan related, something more on-court related with their physicality or energy? Or what is it in your opinion? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.